Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tiana and today I'm going to be showing you guys how I edit my Instagram pictures. So I'm going to add a screenshot of my feed so you can see what my feed looks like at the moment and the type of pictures I'm into taking and all of that, so you can see whether this video is going to help you or not. I take my pictures in literally 2 locations and both of them have white walls and both of them are inside, so there isn't much of a difference between the lighting and the scenery or the background or anything like that. So my editing has been very uniform and I actually do use a recipe on VSCO, but I'll tell you about that when I get there. I use 3 main apps to edit and they are Facetune, VSCO and Snapseed. So the first thing I do is I go onto my Facetune and I load whatever image I'm going to edit. The first thing I do with all of my pictures, since my background is always a white wall, I whiten the wall. Sometimes the wall will be white enough, but I prefer to whiten it just so I can see the difference. You know, sometimes I just need to see if it can be better than what it is already. I set it to 100 so I can see exactly what it is that I'm like painting, coloring in, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I'm just gonna go into detail. I'm gonna go in closer. It does a good job of preventing you from filling in spaces that are not already white, which helps a lot. I'm done with the wall and now I'm gonna bring it down to 50%. And if you tap on this little icon on the bottom right, you'll see the before and after. So this is before, wait, hold on, this is before and this is after. So before and after. Sometimes I prefer to be a little bit lower because I'm still gonna edit the exposure and all of that. So if the back is too white, when I edit the exposure, it's gonna be a bit weird. So I'm gonna put this on 45. I don't do much on Facetune. I only use the whitening tool and the details tool. So details I usually use on my jewelry and my eyebrows or anything that I just needed to pop a little bit more, you know. So I'm gonna fill in my, okay, so I just did my ring. I'm gonna do my eyebrows because I feel like they looked really good this day. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do my earrings and the rest of my rings. I also have a necklace on which isn't showing that much, but yeah, it needs to stand out a little bit. I also do this on clothing, so buttons, sometimes zips, like anything with metal, I will add detail. You see how my pants are like kind of folded? Sometimes I'll just go over with my finger on that to kind of make it stand out a little bit more. I don't know, like I want to say to give it texture, but I know that's not the right expression. So yeah, I go over that sometimes. We are done in Facetune. Let me save that. I don't use Snapseed as much. I usually just use it for 2 functions again. I love using the healing tool so that I can remove smudges on any of my clothing, and as well as the selection tool. So I'm going to show you what the selection tool does. So I have this picture here that I took that I actually like, but my hand was in the way, so we're just going to use this picture just for show and tell purposes. So this tool allows you to adjust the contrast, brightness, structure and saturation of a specific area in your photo. So I'm going to use this as an example. So I'm just going to press on my face. You can see the icon with the B is now on my face, and this is brightness, right? So I'm going to increase the brightness in that place, and then I'm going to adjust how far the effect is going to go. So if I only want to increase the brightness of my upper body, then I'll just leave it like that and I'll put it on 100 so you can see the difference. So this is without the brightness and this is with. Now I wouldn't actually do this to my picture. This is just so I can show you what it does. I usually use it for structure and for saturation, and yeah, that's what this tool does. The healing tool removes spots and smudges and things like that. That's actually what I use it for. I'm going to zoom in on my face right now, and I have this spot here from a pimple that I got a while ago, but it's still there. So the healing tool allows you to just click and remove that and click and remove that. And sometimes I'll do that because I don't usually have this thing on my forehead. Depending on how I feel on the day. I don't know, but yeah, that's what the healing tool does. So going back to the original picture that I was editing, right, I've just added the picture that I'm using into VSCO, and you can actually see all of my other pictures that I've been editing. And the nice thing about VSCO is that it kind of gives you this grid layout where you can see all of your pictures, and if you're trying to keep consistent with some type of theme, or you want your editing to be uniform, you can see it all here, and you know, that's helpful. I have a recipe on VSCO, and I usually use that to just put it as the base layer, and that way I can just adjust saturation and adjust, you know, according to the picture itself. The first thing I do is add my recipe, and the filter that I use is C1 at 3. I can't actually go past 5 with any of these filters. I feel like they do too much, you know. So on my recipe, I've adjusted everything, but I like to go over it again because I know that my recipe is a little bit too much, so I like to bring it down to where I need it to be. The first thing I do when I edit is I change the temperature of the thing. The temperature on my recipe is way too low, so I need to bring it back up, and I usually leave that at 0.5. I prefer my pictures to have a colder temperature just because they're inside and it looks better to me. And I increase the tints to 0.5, so it's on the pinker side. Exposure I have at 0.5, which I usually leave it there. It really just depends on the picture, so sometimes I'll increase it if I wanted to have a high exposure. For this picture, 0.5 was actually okay, but I think I'm going to bring it up to 0.7 just because my face looks a little bit too dark because of the shadow. And then contrast I usually leave at -1 to kind of balance the effect of the filter that I added. And then I come onto the sharpening tool, and this tool is one of the most important tools for me. Like, sharpening your picture adds that much detail to it. So I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like. Right now it's at 0, and I'm going to bring it to 100 so you can see how vivid the details are. The spots on my face even look darker, right? So that means that it's adding detail. That's why I have it set at 3, but usually I'll add it to like 4.5, depending on the picture. If it's a picture of like just my face, then I don't want there to be that much structure, so I'll leave it at 3, but I do usually increase it some more. Saturation is at 1.5, which is extremely high, so I usually bring that down to about 7, 8, 6, around there. But now it's at 7 and it looks a little bit dull, so I'd rather leave it at 8, 9-ish. So the highlights and the shadows are things that I usually don't mess with too much. So I have my shadows at 1, which let me show you what shadows does. So it basically makes the picture look like it's fading, you know. And then highlights, this is what highlights does. So it brings some darkness into the picture. And since I take my pictures on white walls, sometimes it does look way too white, like it's too white sometimes. So this is the tool that I use to kind of bring that down if I need to. And as I don't go too far with this, I like to stay between 0.5 and 1.5. So for now, I'll leave it at 1 for this picture. Now let's see the before and after. So this is before, after. So that's how I edit all of my pictures. It's pretty simple. I don't like doing too much. I'll leave my VSCO recipe down below in the description box. If you have any tips that you found helpful, please leave them in the comment section below. We would all like to hear them. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.